The Evil Dead is a 1981 horror movie, directed by Sam Raimi, and is famously on the Video Nasties list, a series of films banned due to their explicit content. The story starts with 5 college students on a road trip. They head out of the big city to spend a nice peaceful weekend away at a cabin in the woods. It all sounds lovely, and Scott, the leader of the gang, has ensured his buddies that their holiday getaway is going to be great. After all, it was a real bargain, but what's the catch? Here it is, a rickety old shithole, not quite the luxury accommodation they were expecting. As you can tell, the other 4 aren't too keen to enter the dilapidated cabin, and rightly so. It's full of animal bones and weird shit. What kind of Airbnb is this? Despite the ominous setting, the 5 get settled in, but strange things start to happen after sundown. The character Cheryl sees herself as a bit of an artist, and whilst drawing the clock in the cabin, her hand goes haywire, as if possessed by a demonic force. She hastily scribbles what can only be described as a rudimentary picture of SpongeBob SquarePants. Very odd indeed. Then the gang sit down to their evening meal. Everything is going fine until the trapdoor randomly slams open, and they rush over to see what could have caused it. After deciding it was probably just a wild animal, Scott decides to investigate further. Why on earth you would venture into a dark cellar is beyond me, but he grabs his torch and disappears into the darkness anyway. A few minutes go by and the others begin to worry. Scott hasn't answered their calls, so Ash reluctantly agrees to look around for him. Once in the cellar, we can see the true extent of its creepiness. Everything is dusty and ancient, as one would expect in an abandoned cabin, and Ash is a bit of a scaredy cat. Scott jumps out to surprise Ash, which he finds hilarious, and shows him some of the peculiar treasures the cellar has to offer. A crusty old book, that looks like a giant pork scratching, catches Ash's attention. Inside are mysterious illustrations and the text doesn't look familiar at all. Could this be what Cheryl was drawing during her freaky episode? Scott also finds a bizarre-looking dagger covered in skulls, but is more interested in a tape recorder, which he takes upstairs so everyone can listen to whatever it has to say. The tape consists of a professor reciting the incantations from the book, which they learn is called the Book of the Dead. These incantations can awaken the demons of the forest, and possess the living. Cheryl gets freaked out by the contents of the tape, and just as the incantation is complete, a tree smashes a window. Could this be the demons of the forest waking up? Later that night, Cheryl has another look at her crappy drawing, then hears a voice from outside her window. In a moment of pure insanity she leaves the cabin, as if that ever works out well in horror movies, and is sexually assaulted by tree branches. That's right, she gets raped by a tree. Now you can see why this movie was banned. Somehow she manages to escape the evil clutches of the forest, and pleads with anyone to take her away from the cabin. Ash offers to drive her to the nearest town, but they can't leave as the bridge is completely wrecked. This means they have to spend the night in the cabin, and hope that they can survive whatever ungodly anomalies choose to wreak havoc on them. Cheryl is understandably shell-shocked, but things go from bad to worse for her, as she is possessed, and transformed into a bloodthirsty lunatic as soon as she arrives in the safety of the cabin. So there we have it, a group of college students battling a Sumerian curse that can possess the living, a crazed girl with a penchant for jabbing ankles with pencils, and a forest with a mind of its own. Can the team survive the night against all odds? Does cutting up demons with an axe really work? And don't you just hate it when you have a murderous blood fiend locked in your basement? I think I can sum up Evil Dead perfectly in just a few words: a relentless blood-splattered thrill ride. This film doesn't quit. Once the violence begins, you strap yourself into a sadistic roller coaster of mayhem, and it's absolutely glorious. Of course, this movie isn't for everyone. Aspects of it feel like an endurance test. Evil Dead asks the viewer to sit through 85 minutes of pure unadulterated chaos, so don't go into it thinking you can relax and enjoy a few light scares. No sir. It's by far one of the goriest movies I've ever seen, and there's more blood than you can shake a stick at. If you thought a pencil in the ankle was bad, that's just a taste of what the movie has to offer. Limbs are hacked off, heads are shot at, and people are chainsawed into bite-sized chunks. Bruce Campbell is a marvel to watch, and every facial expression kept me captivated throughout. His character Ash goes through every human emotion you can think of. Love, confusion, grief, paranoia, insanity, you name it, his character experiences it all. And his performance drags you into his nightmarish world, kicking and screaming. Evil Dead is an absolute must-see horror movie, but do you have the guts to watch it? Do you have the cojones to withstand this gruesome onslaught of the senses? If so, let me know what you thought of the Evil Dead in the comments below. If you're anything like me, then you probably loved it, so why not subscribe to the channel, where I try and review the classics, and the dumpster fires too. Thanks so much for watching another video. Cheers babes.